I now want to spend some time talking about the other sources of federal tax revenue. On page 239 was that pie chart, and the single biggest source of federal tax revenue is the individual income tax. We did that in the last video, right? The taxes that are collected on the incomes of individuals like you, me, and your parents. But the second biggest source of federal tax dollars is what we call Social Security taxes, plural. Plural because there's more than one. Okay? They're commonly referred to as FICA taxes, FICA, F-I-C-A, which stands for the Federal Insurance Contributions Act. But the reason we call them Social Security taxes is because there are two of them. FICA taxes are broken into two parts, Social Security, which you've probably heard of, and Medicare, which you probably have heard of. Okay? But together, these two taxes make up FICA. They're also referred to as payroll taxes. Payroll taxes. The reason they're called payroll taxes is a couple. First of all, they're taxes taken out of your payroll and only out of your payroll. So for example, if you have a job, okay, they're going to take Social Security and Medicare out of that. Okay? But what if you win money in the lottery? Okay, if you're 18, you bought a lottery ticket and you won some money, would you pay income tax on those winnings? Yes, you'd pay income tax, but you would not pay Social Security and Medicare. The interest that you earn from your bank accounts is not subject to Social Security and Medicare taxes. If you own property and you rent it out, okay, you have rental properties, you rent out your another house or something like that, that money you're going to pay income tax on it, but you're not going to pay payroll taxes. Okay? You're not going to pay Social Security and Medicare. So the first part is, the reason they're called payroll taxes is because they're only taken out of your paycheck. But the second reason, and this is a very important one, is that the taxes are split evenly between you and your employer. Okay? In the previous video, I said that Social Security was taxed at 6.2% of your income. Okay? Well, that's not technically correct. It's actually 12.4%. But you pay 6.2% and your employer pays 6.2% for a total of 12.4%. Okay? So if you make $100 at McDonald's, they're going to take out $6.20, 6.2%, from your paycheck. But McDonald's is also going to kick in $6.20 for a total of 12.4% of whatever you earn. Okay? The same is true with Medicare. Okay? We mentioned that Medicare in one of the videos is 1.45%. That's not technically true. It's 1.45% of your income that you pay, but so does your employer. So between you paying and your employer paying, it adds up to 2.9%. The reason I bring this up is, what if you own your own business? Well, then you have to pay both halves of it. Okay? If you own your own business and you're paying into Medicare, you have to pay the employee portion and the employer portion, and you're going to pay 2.9%. Okay? My friend my barber, okay, he owns the barber shop, and so he has to pay 12.4% of whatever he makes in Social Security. He pays his 6.2% as the employee, and then also 6.2% as the employer. So if you own your own business, these payroll taxes can become very expensive. Okay? All right. So Social Security and Medicare together make up FICA taxes. That's why it's such a large part of federal government revenues. That's why that slice of the pie, I believe it's yellow, is very, very large. Okay? All right. We'll talk more about Medicare in chapter 10. But a lot of you have heard a lot about Social Security and how it's running out of money and how it's not going to be there when you guys get older. Well, is that really the case? Well, hopefully you've printed out the Social Security notes, because we want to talk about the Social Security crisis, because this is your second essay question. So let's learn a lot more about Social Security. When we're done, you're going to know a lot more about Social Security than the average American. First of all, Social Security is technically called OASDI. Who gets money from the government? Well, there's actually three groups. OA stands for old age. And those are the people we most often think about that are on Social Security. That's grandma or grandpa. Okay? My mom is 80 years old. She's collecting Social Security benefits. Old age. Okay? And that's the vast majority, but there are other groups. What does the S stand for? The S stands for survivors. Okay? Survivors are people that are left behind when the wage earner dies. Okay? Social Security was originally established in 1935 during the heart of the Great Depression. Okay? And so President Roosevelt and Congress wanted to protect all the people that could not support themselves. Certainly, if you were too old to work, the government wanted to be able to provide assistance to you. But what is a survivor? A survivor is someone who is left behind when the wage earner dies. For example, if your mom or dad were to pass away, and I hope that's not the case, but if your mom or dad were to pass away, you would be considered a survivor because you were depending upon their income for your support. And so you technically would now qualify for survivor benefits. Okay? Survivor benefits. It's also if the wage earner dies when they're collecting Social Security. For example, my dad was the major breadwinner, the major money earner in our family. So when my dad passed away, my mom was able to collect his benefits as a survivor because she was relying on those benefits. Okay? And then the D stands for disability. Okay? If a person is disabled and unable to work, how are they going to support themselves? Okay? So Social Security benefits, the I stands for insurance, just in case you need it. Okay? Social Security actually goes for three different groups. Sure, the ones that we most often think about, the old age, but also the survivors and the disabled are able to get money from Social Security. Okay? How does Social Security and Medicare work? Well, they're what we call pay-as-you-go systems. Pay-as-you-go. Okay? What that means is the people that are receiving the government benefits today are getting them from today's workers. And this is how it works. Okay? When you earn money, you and your employer, so the employee and the employer are going to be putting money in. Every month, or every paycheck, I should say, that you receive, the government is going to take out 6.2% plus 6.2%. And those dollars go into what we call the Social Security Trust Fund. Okay, every month or every paycheck, when you have money taken out from your check and your employer matches it, you guys together are putting money in. That money turns around and goes right back out. And who does it go out to? Well, it goes out to the old people, which we'll call elderly. It goes out to the survivors. And it goes out to the disabled. So you and I are putting the money in, and then who's getting it out right away? The old people, the survivors, and the disabled. Like my mom. So every month, my mom gets a Social Security check. Okay? She gets a Social Security check as an older person. Where does that money come from? It comes from you, if you have a job, and me, and our employers, right? We're putting the money in, and then who's taking the money out? The old people, the survivors, and the disabled. And the government gives them a check. Maybe you know someone that's on disability. Okay? Hopefully you're not a survivor, okay? But maybe if grandma has passed away or grandpa's passed away, you have survivor benefits. Okay? So we're putting the money in and it's going right back out. A lot of people are under the misconception that when they take this money out of our check, they just put it aside and wait for us to get old. No, that money goes right back out. Okay? For many years, this is what happened. More money, $5 signs, more money was going in than was going out, only $4 signs. And so Social Security was able to save money. Is that still the case? No, that's no longer the case. Now, more money is going out every month, $5 signs, compared to 4 going in. What happened? What has happened to cause this Social Security crisis where more money is going out than is coming in? Well, for many years, there was more money going in because the ratio of people putting money in compared to taking it out was very high. In 1950, for every one person that was taking money out, there was 16.5 people putting money in. Okay? For every one person taking it out, there were 16.5 people pouring money in. So there was way more money going in than was going out. But that's no longer the case. Today that number's down to about 2.9 to 1. 2.9 people putting it in. In other words, less than 3 people putting money in for every one person taking it out. Okay? And because the amount of money going out is greater than the money coming in, they're running short of money. Okay? Now the question is, why has this ratio gone way down? Why are there way fewer people putting money in? Well, if you take a look at the notes, there are 3 reasons. Number 1, people are living longer. Okay? People are living longer. And so because of medical technology, because we know more about how to live healthy and things like that, people are living longer, so they're staying on this side for a longer period of time. So that's causing the ratio to go down. Okay? When they started this in 1935, okay, the average life expectancy was about 67 years old. So people that retired at age 65, they were able to collect Social Security on average for about 2 years, and then they died and they stopped paying out. Okay? But today, people are living longer. The second reason, and probably the biggest reason, is the baby boom generation. What is the baby boom generation? If you remember from your history classes, okay, after World War II, a lot of the soldiers came back home, they had missed their wives, and they made a lot of babies. Okay? There was a lot of people born from 1946 to 1964. I know, because I was born in 1964. That was a long time, 18 years. Okay? But for 18 years, a lot more babies were being born. Okay? They called this the baby boom generation. Well, where have those people been for many, many years? They've been on this side of the equation. If you were born in 1946, the first year of the baby boom generation, that would make you how old this year? Right? I know you guys love math, but that would make you 74 years old. Right? So for many years, you were on this side of the equation, putting money in. But if you're 74, where are you probably now? You're over here on the other side, taking the money out. So mathematically, less people are putting money in and more people are taking out as the baby boom generation is moving from the putting it inside to the taking it outside. Okay? And this is going to continue to happen as we continue to move the baby boomers from one side to the other. Now, I'm the last year of the baby boom generation. I'm 56 this year. Okay? I'm still putting money in, but eventually I'm going to move to this side. Okay? The third reason, when I wrote these notes a number of years ago, okay, we were talking about the Great Recession, but we could also be talking about the pandemic recession that we're in now. A lot of people have lost their jobs because of the pandemic. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and so they're no longer putting the money in. What if you were 65, 66, 67, and you lost your job? Instead of being on this side, you might say, you know what, I'm just going to retire and start collecting Social Security. So when the economy goes down, fewer people are putting it in, and some of those older people say, you know what, I might as well just retire. And they move from the putting it inside into the taking it outside. But the bottom line is this, that ratio has gone way down. There are way more people taking it out than there used to be compared to putting it in. And as a result, this is what's happened. Less dollars are going in than is coming out. Right now we're okay until about the year 2034, 2030. I think 2034 is the most recent number I've seen. Okay? Because for many, many years, more money was going in than was coming out. And so the Social Security had extra money. Well, those extra dollars are being depleted. They're being used up. Every year that we bring in less than what we spend, they have to take out some of those extra dollars. And by 2034, there won't be enough dollars left. And at that point in time, all of these extra dollars will be gone. And we're going to have a problem. So you might have heard that the Social Security is going to be bankrupt by 2034. That's not technically the case. What will technically be the case is not enough money will be going in, so they won't be able to pay out all the money they were supposed to pay. Okay? I think the numbers are about 75%. So instead of being able to pay out $5 signs, they'll only be able to pay out 4. Okay? Because only $4 are coming in. I know that's technically 80%. Okay? So we've got a problem. And this problem will just get worse. It will just keep getting worse unless the government does something to fix it. What could the government do to fix it? Okay? I know how much you guys love math, but it is simply a math problem. The math problem says more money is going out than is coming in. More money is going out than is coming in. So what could they do to fix it? Well, get more money in. What could they do to get more money in? Well, they could raise the tax rate. The first thing that the government could do is raise the tax rate. Instead of it being 6.2% and 6.2%, maybe they make it 7%. So the workers pay 7%, the employers pay 7%. That would enable more money to come in, and that would help solve the problem. Of course, that's going to be really unpopular because nobody's going to want to see their taxes go up. Will it be unpopular? Sure. But would it work? Also, yes. Okay? Raising the tax would be the first one. Okay? The second one, raise the cap. Okay? And we talked about this earlier in one of the other videos. Okay? You only pay Social Security. You only pay Social Security up to a maximum income of $137,700 this year. Once your income reaches that maximum or cap, sometimes it's called the Social Security cap, then you don't have to pay any more Social Security tax for that year. So LeBron James and other rich people, they pay tax only on the first $137,000. Well, what if we raised that cap to say $500,000? Well, now rich people would pay more in Social Security tax. If we raise that cap from $137,000 to say $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $1 million. That too, if we raise the cap, would allow more money to go into the system. The third option, give the old people less money. If we don't have enough money coming in, well, just give the old people less money. That wouldn't be very popular either, would it? Just tell grandma and grandpa, hey, I know you worked all those years of your life. I know that you're supposed to get a lot of money, but we're just going to give you less. Good luck. That would be mean and not very fair and not very popular. But it would work. It would work as a math problem if we just simply gave the old people less money and the disabled people and the survivors less money. That would work. The other option is to raise the retirement age. For many years, the retirement age was 65. You could start collecting full retirement benefits at age 65. Well, now, for someone my age, it's 67. So in order for me to collect my full check, I have to wait until I'm 67 to retire. What if we raised that age to 70? If we said now you have to wait until you're 70 years old, how would that help? Would that help with more money going in or less money going out? Well, that actually would help on both sides. Okay? If you had to work until you were 70, wouldn't you be on this side putting money in longer? If you used to be able to retire at 65, now you got to work for 5 more years pouring money in. How does it help on this side? Well, now you're retired for fewer years. Okay? I know this is hard to think about, but let's say you're going to die at age 85. If you retire at 65, you're on this side for 20 years collecting money. Every year for 20 years, they're going to keep giving you a check every month. Okay? But if they make you wait until you're 70, now you're only getting 15 years worth of checks, right? If you have to wait, if you're going to die at age 85, and you have to wait until you're 70. Okay? So the answer is, what can be done? Well, there's 4 things that can be done. You got to remember 3 of them for the test. I don't care, pick whichever 3 you want. Okay? But what 4 things could be done to solve the Social Security crisis, to make sure that more money is going in compared to the amount of money going out? They could raise the tax rate so that more money goes in. They could raise the cap so that rich people have to pay more money in. They could raise the retirement age so that both more money comes in and less money goes out. And the last thing they could do is simply reduce the benefits. They could give the old people, the survivors, the disabled, give them less money every month. Would any of those solutions be popular? No. But if we're going to save the system, if we're going to save the Social Security system so that it continues to provide benefits to old people, survivors, and disabled people, something has to be done. The government has to get it done. And the sooner they get it done, the less painful it's going to be. Okay? If they start raising the tax a little bit now, instead of waiting until 2034, when they start to run out of money, if they do it now, they won't have to raise the tax as much. They won't have to raise the age. They won't have to raise the cap. They won't have to reduce the benefits as much if the government will just get on it. But it's a very unpopular thing to do. All of those things would be unpopular. All right, I know this was a long video, but it does summarize what we learned in class and the essay question.